take your body to the moon.
Hello everybody, how's it going? It's Zach, and welcome to Priest Talkthrough number 1. So, I'm not sure if all of you are aware of Hydra, or who Hydra is. He's probably the best priest in the world, and he used to do this series called Priest Talkthrough, which is no longer really going. I don't know if he's gonna do anything for WoD, but he might, and, well, if he doesn't, well, that's what I'm here for. I decided that I would kind of continue the series. I'm not that best priest. I'm not the kind of priest who deaths blinds or shit. I'm just a priest that pretty much knows what he's doing. And so, in this first talkthrough, I would want to look at the talent changes in Warlords of Draenor, and glyphs, and everything you need to know before you go into PvP. That is add-ons, stat priority, keybinds or whatever. I'm just going to look over all of that. So let's start with your stat priority. Stat priorities are different on pretty much every website. As in Warlords, your stat priority changes a lot, depending on how you want to play. Now, as Shadow Priests, if we look at our attunement stat, or whatever it is called, Enlightenment, here it is, increases critical effect chance and causes us to gain 5% more crit from all sources. But crit in PvP has actually been nerfed, and so I do actually prefer Mastery over crit. So how I go with my stat priority right now is Mastery over crit, over Spirit, over Multi-Strike, over Haste. Haste is probably our most useless stat, because when you pop Powered Shield, which you will pop basically all the time, you gain 40% more haste from everything, and that is, yeah, quite a bunch of haste, so why the fuck not? For these tertiary stats, none of them are actually on PvP gear. I don't know if they plan to put them in PvP or something, but they're not there. Versatility also doesn't really appear on our gear, sadly. What else? Well, there's nothing really to do with gearing anymore. For your priority of getting Conquest gear, actually, what I would recommend is first you get the robes. That's how I did it, at least. Robes, then I got the Cowl of Hood of Prowess. This is a Mastery Multi-Strike one. There is not a crit Mastery one, if I'm not mistaken, and the original one is pretty badly itemized, hey. And get your Energy Staff. The Energy Staff is amazing. Crit Mastery, Spell Power, why the fuck not? Get a Bleeding Hollow enchant. If you do play on EU and you have mats, I am pretty sure I can just enchant it up for you if you're having problems finding an enchanter. So, rings. I want to quickly tell you guys what rings you want to get. Honestly, and right now I have the Multi-Strike Spirit one because I opened it in a box, but you should have the Crit Haste ring and the other ring. Where is it? Rings. Here we go. Haste, Multi-Strike, Crit Haste, and where? There's more rings, aren't there? Yeah, Crit Multi-Strike or the Multi-Strike Spirit one. It doesn't really matter because the rings are all pretty badly itemized. Haste Spirit, Haste Multi-Strikes are the ones you want to avoid. You want either the red ring, the blue pinkish ring, or this green ring. Doesn't really matter. For the necks, you definitely want the Crit Haste one. Or is it? Do I have the wrong neck? No, I don't. Good. Crit Haste neck. That's what you want. Your 4-piece set is actually really good, so you just want to go ahead and get that. The thing that I would replace, honestly, either replace the legs or replace the hood. Really depends on you, but just go for what has more crit and mastery. For your trinkets, you want Freedom Trinket unless you're human, and Battle Master if you just need a health. Other than that, I would recommend this thing. No, that's the Agi Trinket because this is shittily done. This one. The Insignia of Dominance, which is the Intellect Proc Trinket. So, yeah, if you're human, go with Battlemaster and the Proc Trinket. If you're not human, go like this. Just Freedom and Battlemaster. When you get lots and lots of gear, you may switch to the Proc Trinket, but honestly, I just like the Battlemaster because it's kind of cool having that extra health. So, next up, I want to go over your talents. I'm going to go tier by tier, explaining every single thing you need to possibly know. So, tier 15. The only talent you really don't want to take here is Angelic Bulwark. Angelic Bulwark is kind of crap, to be honest. Every 90 seconds, that's every minute and a half, you get an Absorb Shield equal to 15% of your max health. Desperate Prayer is generally really good, although it is on a higher cooldown than Bulwark. You can activate it whenever you feel like it. And that is really good because most classes, generally when they get into the execute range, they're going to have bonus damage. And once you just get an absorb shield when you're at 30% health, their executes will be procced and they can just burn through the shield like nothing. Desperate Prayer can be popped before you even get into the execute range, and I think you can use it while stunned, so that's just a plus there. Spectral Guise. Spectral Guise is kind of the clear winner here. What Spectral Guise does is it allows you to enter stealth, leaving behind some thingy there, and after a few seconds you're just going to pop out of stealth. Now, they're not going to see you, but they're going to see your figure, and then it will disappear once you pop out of stealth. Now, there are many nice combos you can actually pick up with it, especially with talents from the second tier. So the second tier, the only one you really want to avoid is Body and Soul, because Body and Soul just provides less overall throughput than Angelic Feather, because Angelic Feather is just better than Body and Soul because of Weakened Soul, which prevents Body and Soul from working, blah blah blah. Anyway, Angelic Feather and Phantasm are the two main choices you want to take here. Angelic Feather is absolutely gorgeous with Guise, as is Phantasm. So when you have Feather, what you can actually do is, let's actually imagine that this thing here is a pillar. You see a DK and a warrior just approaching from here. What you do is you drop a Feather, go Guise, and you can just run around the pillar. And you're going to be super fast. But of course, once you're slowed, it doesn't really work that well. But yeah, you can kite with it pretty well. Another thing you can do, you can just Guise into a Fear, which is really nice. And Phantasm is amazing when you're getting trained because it removes all slows and prevents you from being slowed. And once you use Phantasm and Guise, you can just walk away pretty fast, which is quite nice. So that's about it for these first two tiers. They tie in together quite nice. So yeah, let's look at this third tier. Surge of Light, Mindbender, and Solace. The only one you really want to avoid is Solace because it's just garbage. I personally use Surge of Light because it's really nice once it procs. I don't know if I can just get it to proc here. It's probably going to take quite a while, but hey. It actually does proc of pretty much everything. So if I actually use Spirit Shell here, okay, then proc off that. It's going to take quite a while to proc, so there we go, there it is, Surge of Light. So what can actually happen, you can have up to 2 procs of it, yeah, up to 2 charges of it, and what it actually can do is it can proc off of each other. Now it didn't, but hey, it actually does proc off each other, and it's just really good, because if you get it procking, it's super good, because it's a free 30k heal, instantly. It can't be interrupted, you know, it can't be kicked, the only thing you can really be is stunned. Mindbender is the second argument. I've talked to some priests, and they say that Mindbender is kind of cool. Mindbender hits decently hard, I would say. So Mindbender hits quite hard. It's on a minute cooldown, which means you can use it a lot, and it gives you back a lot of mana. Honestly, I'm not having any mana problems, and I'm not really well geared neither. So like, not having mana issues. So if you're having mana issues, go with Mindbender. Other than that, I really like Surge of Light, to be honest. Basically, it says you're healing spells, but it literally procs off of Spirit Shell, just like the initial Spirit Shell cast. I've also seen it proc off Barrier. It procs off pretty much everything. So, yeah. Level 60 tier. I hate what they did here. I mean, good to see Siphene go. That's one of the reasons why I didn't really play my Priest in PvP, because I was really fucking afraid of using my Siphene, because it's such a weird spell. Glad it's out of the game. Not glad that they put Psychic Scream here. I am really disappointed that Psychic Scream is now a talent and on an increased cooldown. Void Tendrils also got kicked through the teeth. Huge nerf to Void Tendrils. Dominate Mind is still pretty much Dominate Mind. Honestly, I would play Dominate Mind only in 2s when you're with a Hunter, because he can drop a trap or something, and you can just Dominate Mind him right into the trap. Dominate Mind is really bad in 3s. I wouldn't really use it. Psychic Scream is the general go-to. Honestly, just use Psychic Scream all the time. Get used to using it. Dominate Mind is not that good, but if you feel like using it in some 2s, you know, go ahead. Void Tendrils, maybe against TSG or something. I don't know. I don't really think this is very useful, because it also breaks on damage, what is not actually said here. I think it breaks when you damage the target or the tendril below the tendril's health, and they break pretty much instantly with all the pressure going around, so void tendrils are not really good. Psychic Scream is the general go-to, as I already said. Psychic Scream is really, really good. It's just, you know, scream. Scream how we know it. Anyway, 75 tier. I tend to go with Spirit Shell. I go with Spirit Shell for a few different reasons, but first I want to talk about other talents. Power Infusion. Many priests take Power Infusion, but I honestly don't like Power Infusion. Not at all. Twist of Fate is good. If you want to use Twist of Fate, go ahead and use Twist of Fate. It is quite nice. 15% increased damage and healing once you heal or damage something below 35%. That is execute range. Power Infusion, what it does is on a 2-minute cooldown and increases your haste and reduces the mana costs of your spells. Now, what the big problem with this is that it's dispellable. You can actually dispel Power Infusion. So if you have, like, let's just do this, the general kind of buffed up kind of theme of a priest. When you're buffed up, you usually have like this many buffs. Maybe you can have a Divine Aegis up on yourself. If you can actually get it to proc here or something, or not, okay. But hey, look, I have like 4 buffs here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buffs. No, 4 only. 4 only because this is undispellable. That's 4 clicks of my dispel button, and my Power Infusion is gone. That's 5 seconds on your Power Infusion for like 2 minutes cooldown. I don't like that. What I love about Spirit Shell is, first of all, it's undispellable. This effect is undispellable. That means you can't get it off. And the second thing is, this thing is also undispellable. So you're popping people with undispellable absorption shields. The only way to get rid of these is to literally deeps through them through a 141k barrier. Or wait 10 seconds for it to run out. That is a hefty amount shield. And yeah, generally Spirit Shell is my go-to because it's really, really good. Because it's undispellable, it's pure absorption, and it's just really good. Honestly, Power Infusion and Twist of Faith are both viable. Many priests pick them, and I don't blame you. But honestly, I as a priest know that I can get rid of other priests' Power Infusion pretty damn fast if I'm just maintaining regular dispels on them to get like these pointless buffs off them, like stamina buff, etc. And Twist of Fate is really useful if you know you're going to be killing really, really fast. So yeah, level 90 tier. Well, Cascade is the only one that I don't really think is viable because you only have 2 arena partners and it's not that good. Halo's cool. Halo's cool. Honestly, what I go with is Divine Star. Why? Short cooldown, procs Divine Aegis, and what it also does, what it's really great for, is when you're on the run and you throw it into teammates, what actually happens is it has a really high chance of proccing Surge of Light, as you saw there. That was procced from a Penance, but hey, when I throw it, it usually procs one. I don't know why it's not proccing it now, but hey, usually procs 1 or 2 charges of it even. So yeah, Divine Star is on really short cooldown. You can use it pretty much all the time, and it procs instant flash heals quite a lot. So yeah, the only one I really wouldn't pick is Cascade. Go with it. Halo is really cool if you're kind of behind a pillar or in the back. Divine Star is just generally my choice because I like it. I like using it. Level 100 tier. I see a lot of priests with Clarity of Will, and I will give you a tip. Do not ever pick Clarity of Will. Clarity of Will is a horrible talent. Let me quickly demonstrate why. There is literally only one reason why this is so incredibly terrible. 2 at least. Well, do you see this cast time? 2.4 seconds? Do you see this little tooltip at the edge? Magic. It is a dispellable effect. I see priests with power. Whenever I see a priest pre-casting this, I laugh and look at my dispel button. Because 1, 2, and it's gone. 2 clicks of my dispel button and this hefty absorb shield is off. If you can't deal with it quickly, sure. If you're going against a team that can't purge, sure, it is a really, really nice talent. Other than that, no, never go with it. So we got Words of Mending and Saving Grace up next. Saving Grace is honestly my favorite because if we look at the healing of Saving Grace, actually, and put it here, Flash Heal is for 27k. You can look here, yep, 27k. This heals for 37k, that is 10k more. 37, that is for 33, 30, and now That's 4 casts of it until it heals less than a flash heal. Then of course the flash heals will cast it. See, there you see the gorgeousness. I just used flash heal twice and it procced. So that's 4 free flash heals that I just got from Surge of Light. So that's a demonstration of why Surge of Light is awesome. The only downside to Saving Grace, of course, is this 8-second debuff that reduces your healing and absorption done. Once you stack this up, like look at my shield. My shield only absorbs 16k. That is really, really ridiculously bad. But hey, look, it gives you a really, really cool ass halo. So in 3s, Saving Grace tends to fall behind Words of Mending. Now, let me show you why Words of Mending are so awesome. I really had quite an issue understanding why Words of Mending were so cool. They are really, really cool against things like Shadow Cleave when you have the Affliction Warlock up against you, because for one thing, when you throw the star, I think every person it hits will actually give you a charge. But you see, when I just use Holy Nova, I'm accumulating charges and charges and charges, and you will generally be casting Holy Nova on the move. Plus, of course, your Powered Shield also procs it, your Penance procs it, and then you get a Prayer of Mending, which wasn't cast on me for some weird-ass reason, but hey, I don't really mind. There we go, there's the Pom. So, the Pom only heals for like 5k-ish, but when you're up against dots, it's going to be just bouncing all around the place, and it's pretty much a 25k heal spread over your team. It's really, really nice, but once again, I personally love using Saving Grace. Saving Grace is a perfect thing. It heals a lot, but it reduces your healing. That's the main problem. You want to usually pop shield and then start spamming your Saving Grace, because your absorb other than that is going to be pretty fucking shit. So that's it for talents. Honestly, right now, this is the setup that I'm rocking, just like this. If you want to copy this, then go ahead. Glyphs. You're going to be swapping out one glyph pretty much all the time. There are some mandatory glyphs. The first mandatory glyph is Glyph of Penance. The other is Glyph of Shadow Magic, and the other is Weakened Soul. The Penance glyph is the only one that's mandatory because look at the mobility that it gives you. Plus with the talent, of course, the talent, what it does, not the talent, sorry, the set bonus, what it does is it increases your movement speed by 50% while you penance, or no, 30%, sorry, 50% slow on enemies. So you're moving fast like a motherfucker. So, Glyph of Shadow Magic is a replacement for Inner Focus. Basically, I have my Fake Cast macro bound to Fade. So that basically what you do is if you're getting really, really pressured and your team is in trouble, what you can do is you can proc Spirit Shell, Shadow Magic, and you can just spam Flash Heal. Oops, that was a Prayer of Mending. You can just spam Flash Heal and get those. See, there you go. There it fades. That's basically the R Mastery. You get R Mastery on your Fade. But it's on a 1.5 minute cooldown, which is, I mean, it is decent. It is good. No way it isn't good, but yeah, the cooldown is kind of sad, but you can't be interrupted for 5 seconds. It can be used to Fake Cast. I just have it bound to my Fake Cast macro so that I can just, if Fade is available, it'll use Fade. If not, it'll just stop my casting. So the next glyph that I take, this one is the one that I switch out. Glyph of Weakened Soul, which reduces the Weakened Soul by 2 seconds. Which with this is absorbs for 15 seconds and can't be tagged with Powered Shield for 10 seconds. That is gorgeous. That is really low cooldown on that. The next glyph that I use is Glyph of Mass Dispel. Whenever my DPSs decide that they want to go in a Ret or a Mage, I instantly take this because that means that your Mass Dispel will remove all immunities, like Ice Blocks. It won't remove deterrence, but it will remove like Ice Block, Bubble, Hand of Protections. It'll remove all this kind of stuff. Next glyph I would take is Glyph of Reflective Shield. When you think you're going to get trained, this is especially in 2s, when you think that the DPS will go on you, take this and you're going to be hammered to the ground. In 2s, what literally happened to me is my DPS died because I was CC'd, and a warrior was on me, eh? And I actually killed him. It took me like a minute or 2, but I actually killed the warrior just from Reflective Shield and penancing him and smiting him every now and then using my Shadow Fiend. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Next glyph that I would recommend is, where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Glyph of Focus Mending. I know people actually use this, some people, but I just don't like using it because I just want my Prayer of Mendings to be jumping all the fucking around the place. Glyph of Purification is another one that's kind of cool. You get 2 dispels, yay. It's kind of good because you have 2 arena partners, you know. Generally, I just stick with 1 dispel. I don't really need it that much. These glyphs are the ones that I rock all the time, and I swap out Weaken Soul for either a Reflective Shield or Mass Dispel. It's generally what I do. Oh, another glyph that I didn't mention. Glyph of Inquisitor. Basically transforms your Holy Fire into Shadow or Death. This is super, super useful, especially when you're like Hydra and you need to Death Blinds or Death a Poly. You see a Poly is being cast on you? Cool, so let's just cast the Holy Fire. I don't know why, but my Holy Fire macro is actually broken now. I'm gonna have to look at that. But yeah. That's about it. Okay, so fellas, now I'm gonna show you how to heal. So, I'm not actually gonna hop into an arena. I tried that, but finding an arena where we actually win and I don't get a really bad DPS in skirmishes is kinda hard. So, yeah. What you want to start off is you just want to pop a pom on whoever you think is gonna get hit. Honestly, I usually just pop it on one of my DPS or myself, depending on who they're gonna kill. Then you want to shield everyone. After that, if you're expecting them to open, you can go Spirit Shell into Flash Heal spam, just to get, you know, fat undispellable absorbs on everyone. Other than that, what you can also do is you can go and Feather guys to fear them. Just run in and use a fear on them. That's probably it for your openers. Generally, you want to remember some of your spells. You want to definitely think about casting. Penance is really, really strong. Plus, it gives movement speed increase or a slow if you use it on an enemy. Generally, you want to use... There we go. You see, that's the beauty of Divine Star. Proccing left and right. You want to use your Divine Star pretty much all the time. If you're going to get trained, or if you're being trained and you need to heal, Shadow Magic, and just heal away. Unless they're going to stun you, they're usually going to stun you through it, so just, you know. Other than that, you don't really want to be using Pom on cooldown if you're using Words of Mending, because it's kind of a garbage choice to do that. When you're on the move, I would suggest using Holy Nova to get some procs, but honestly, Holy Nova is not that good of a spell. I don't even have a bound when I use other talents, and generally I think I have better things to cast while I'm moving than Words of Mending, than Holy Nova, sorry, rather I'm Dispelling or something. But yeah, another thing is be aware of your cooldowns. Oop. Be aware of your cooldowns, be aware of like Shadow Fiend, Shadow Crawl. So yeah, be aware of your things, and my fucking Windows decided to prop something up. Anyway, you want to be aware of your Holy Fire. You want to be using Holy Fire. I don't know why my Holy Fire is not working right now. You want to be using Holy Fire all the time. I'm just going to get the buff with Smite now. Because of Archangel, what Archangel does is it increases your healing down by 5% for every stack of Evangelism. If you have 5 stacks of Evangelism, that is just perfect. But what you can actually do is, because of a perk, Drownor perk called Improved Archangel, what you can actually do is once you pop Archangel with any amount of stacks, you get 100% crit on your next flash heal, which means it'll pop this thing called Divine Aegis for 58k, if I can read properly, which is a huge absorption shield. So yeah, you definitely want to be using that. All the time, Archangel is on a pretty damn low cooldown. What I usually actually did in MOP, which I'm not doing now, I might actually make a macro for it, is I macroed Spirit Shell and Archangel together because Archangel is actually off the global. And you can, basically when you're using Spirit Shell, you want fat heals anyway. But yeah. So, let's go over your macros right now. Some general macros I have here. Target, Arena 1, 2, 3. I have those bound to Shift 1, Shift F, Shift F1, Shift F2, and Shift F3. I don't use these as much as I use my focus macros, but hey. I also have macros for targeting Party 1, Party 2, and myself. I have targeting myself bound to Control, Mouse Button 1, and Mouse Button 2, which are my left and, no, my left and right, my side mouse buttons. I have them both bound to the same button, for the sole reason of having the bottom part. So when you're in a party, right, I have my frames here. I have one person, second person. I have me, one person, the second person. The upper person, I have targeting with Shift and my upper side mouse button, and Shift and my bottom mouse button is for targeting the other party member. Generally, I use that. I also have an MC macro, which honestly you should have if you're using Dominate Mind. What it just does is once you cast off a Dominate Mind, which I don't actually have now, once you cast off a Dominate Mind, it will cancel Dominate Mind once you click it again. I don't think the original one actually does that, so yeah, just that. Other than that, I don't actually have any macros here. Nope. So now to my specific macros. Yeah, this is actually one of my old macros. I used to use this. I used to heal with like 3 buttons. So ignore those. I have Focus Arena 1, 2, 3. And I have those bound to F1, F2, F3. Just generally a good one. And you want to focus people who you think are going to be cycloning, for example. You see the druid is cloning, use guys to break CC. That's a quick tip that I'm going to give probably some other day, because right now I'm just going to touch on it. Basically, if you use guys, you become immune to CC, kinda, because your shadow will be hit by CC and not you. Have a dispel macro. This is a really useful macro. Have it bound to F. What it does is if you're targeting yourself, it'll purify. If you're targeting an enemy, it'll dispel magic. So it's offensive and defensive dispel on one button. Here's a shadow macro. Here's my R Master macro. Basically what it does is it casts fade, but before that it stops casting, which is my fake cast macro basically. So if you have fade up, it'll give you R Master. If you don't have fade up, it'll just stop casting. So next up, my Fear CC macro. This is actually kind of not working right now because of what I made it be. But hey, right now what I have it set to is, because I'm a Pandaren, what I have it set to is when I press T, it'll Psychic Scream. When I press Shift T, what it will do is it'll use my Pandaren Racial. And when I use Control T, it'll cast Shackle Undead on Ebon Gargoyle, which is the Unholy DK's pet. And for some odd reasons, it's popping up this, but it works normally. I don't know why. I don't know why it pops it up. So next up is my Focus Dispel macro. I just use this on Shadow, which is Shift F, to just focus Dispel. I don't use it on my disc pretty much at all. Although I'm thinking of using it, I just need to find a bind for it, honestly. I have it on my bars, like right here, but I never click it. I just have it on my bars, like, hey, I got the spell. I'm thinking of putting it somewhere here and just rebinding something cleverly. Yeah, next is my Holy Fire Nearest macro. I actually changed it a bit. It doesn't work like, look, targets my focus and just pops a Holy Fire on them. So if I use Shift S, it doesn't actually do anything. It just switches targets. So yeah, that's kind of bad, honestly. I don't know why it doesn't work. I'm gonna post an updated version of the macro that actually works in the description. Next up is my Pom Fear Ward and Pet Fear Ward thingy. This is an old mob macro, and actually I'm gonna probably change it to do actually my target. Target equals target here. So I'm just gonna change it here. Mod control, target equals target. So what we'll do right now is, if I'm pressing 3, just regular, it'll cast a Pom. If I use Shift, it'll pop a Fear Ward on me, and if I use Control, it'll pop a Fear Ward on my target. Probably gonna put it on focus, but hey, I don't know. I'm gonna play around with that later. Next up is my Power Word Shield macro, which is a really straightforward macro, to be honest. When you use C, it casts Powered Shield on your target, as you can see. When you Shift C, it pops a Powered Shield on yourself. This is a really general macro. It's like the spell macro. What you do is you target someone, and without breaking the target, you can just shield yourself. Next up is a Self-Dispel macro. Have it bound to Shift F. It's the same thing. I can't actually... I can integrate it into this thing, probably, but that'll require modifiers, and don't really want to mess with this macro. I just have them bound separately. Don't really care. I mean, it uses the same bind, it just isn't in one macro. And next up is a Shadow macro. So what I actually want to go over, one more macro which I missed, is my Flash Heal macro. So once again, what it does is you're casting Flash Heal on someone, and then you use Shift, and the Flash Heal is cast on yourself without breaking the target. It's a nice macro, I guess. It's really, I just use it, and that's about it for my macros. And I'll see you guys next time. in another priest talkthrough. Probably going to be fucking training dummy. Probably going to be looking at how to position yourself in arena, because that's one thing that new players really need to know. And I know that when I was getting into PvP, I was kind of really iffy on where to stand, especially as a healer, because you usually get trained and you have no clue what to do with it. And that's what I'm going to be tackling in the next priest talkthrough. Anyway, until next time, see you guys later. Out.